All right, so questions 7 and 8 is asking you to solve for a variable, and it looks kind of scary because it's just variables. You're like, what happened to the numbers, right? But guess what? It's exactly the same as how you would solve a linear equation. So here is a y, so solve for y. Well, the first thing is I said, where's my y? My y is right here, right? But it's mixed up with parentheses and multiplication and minus and all that stuff. So again, what's the first step of solving an equation? What do we do? Distribute, right? Get rid of the parentheses, right? So let's make it look pretty. So we're going to distribute the 5 through. So when we distribute it, we get 5y minus 35 equals to c. And I always keep note of which one I'm solving for, the y, right? Even though there's a c in there, so what? It's fine. The c is just another noun, another subject in the equation. So there's my y. The left side looks pretty, the right side looks pretty. That was step 1. Step 2. What is step 2? So yes, the step is 35 at 35, but what am I doing? Why am I doing that? So remember step 2. So as I was walking around watching you guys do your stuff, a lot of it I kept reminding you guys of the steps, right? This is what you want to memorize, right? The steps. The second step is do what? Decide which side you want your variable. And once you make the decision, then you're going to act. And what do you do when you act? Add the opposite to both sides. So I saw some of you guys trying to do division at this point. You guys weren't sure whether to put your variable on the left or on the right, so it got a little bit confusing. But if you just stick to the steps, it'll make it clear. So here, do we want our y on the left or do we want it on the right? Sure, let's keep it on the left because it's already there, right? So we make a decision that we want y on the left. If we want y on the left, what does not belong here? 35. The negative 35. And how do we get rid of a negative 35? Add 35. So you add its opposite, right? So if you remember these steps and you repeat these steps to yourself every time you do an equation, no matter how easy or hard an equation is, it'll always be the same. So here, I am left with 5y is equal to, I have a c and a plus 35. Can I combine these two animals? No, right? So these are two different animals, so you just leave it. C plus 35, or 35 plus c. It doesn't matter the order. Okay, so now all my y's are on the left-hand side. So therefore, we just finished step 2. What is step 3? Divide by the coefficient of your variable. What is the coefficient of my variable? 5, right? Remember, coefficient means a letter that's stuck with your variable. It's codependent, it's like with you, it's attached to you. So you need to divide by 5, and whatever you do one side, you must do to the other side, because we are talking about equations. So, badam, 5 divided by 5 becomes 1y, right? Or you just put y. And your answer is just c plus 35 all over 5. Another way, you might, maybe if you look in the answer key in the back, they might write it a little bit differently. Another way that this could be written is that instead of putting divided by 5 over the whole thing, you could have written it as y is equal to, where you put divided by 5 on each number, where you put c over 5 plus 35 over 5. And you could do that as well, where you, instead of dividing the whole thing by 5, you divide each part by 5. And if you do that, what's 35 divided by 5? 7. So therefore, the answer y is equal to c over 5 plus 7 is also correct. Both answers are acceptable, but in case you see one in the answer key that's different from what you have, it might be because of this.